So let me tell y'all how I went on a date and found out he was a Uber driver. But y'all, I'm not dating no Uber driver. And let's not forget, he is 48. Not, no.
Yo, what's good, baby? This your boy Flint Flossy back with another one for ya. So while I was in these internet streets, this particular clip came across my timeline. And according to the comments, a lot of feathers were ruffled. Oh yeah, definitely ruffled some feathers. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this clip play. And I'm gonna come back to it, let you know what I'm thinking.
So let me tell y'all how I went on a date and found out he was a Uber driver. So I met this man on Instagram, right? So I met him. We started chit chatting in DM, typical conversation. So then I see my friend is following him. So of course I send his Instagram to my homegirl, and I'm like, "Sis, do you know him?" And she was like, "I'm not quite sure. He might have been my Uber driver." And I'm like, "Huh?" So then I'm like, "You sure?" Cause in my head I'm like, why would you follow your Uber driver? And then she came back and was like, "Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure. I met a lot of people this weekend, so it's a possibility he not my Uber driver." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." And of course, I didn't think none of it because I'm like, why would you be following your Uber driver? So yeah. So then we go on a date. We vibing, y'all. I mean, this is the first guy I've actually went on a date with since I moved to Atlanta. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I'm really vibing with him. I got a connection with him. I'm interested in going on another date. So I asked him, what do you do? He says he's a serial entrepreneur. So I'm like, okay, but what do you do? So then he tells me that he had to start a business with his friend, and they track the wealth of black people. So I'm like, okay, that didn't sound like any money for real. So I'm like, okay, so what else do you do? So then he starts to tell me what he used to do, how he used to own a dispensary and used to. And I said, okay, but what do you do now? Men, stop telling us what you used to do. If you ain't got it now, we don't care. We don't care. So then he tells me that's it. So then I look at him and I say, you drive Uber? And I could tell it like really effed him up because he was not expecting it. Because of course you a serial entrepreneur, but you did not name that you drive Uber. So he was like, yeah, sometimes. Now, I know y'all gonna drag me in the comments, and I don't give up. But y'all, I'm not dating no Uber driver. And let's not forget, he is 48. Think on that. Now, I'm 33. I'm not dating a 48-year-old Uber driver. Like, I'm just not doing it. Like, we date up older men because they're more established, they're more settled. No, I'm not building with no man that's 48. You're basically 50. So we go to the next spot, and I had already said yes before I found out I was an Uber driver. So of course, like, my whole demeanor is totally different at the second spot. And I'm not really saying anything. I'm really ready to go home, baby. He was doing all the talking. Then he brought it up again. Was like, "Have we met before? Like, how you know I drove Uber?" And I'm just like, "Oh, I just know." So at that point, I'm no longer interested, but it is what it is. So another time he tries to take me out, that I think that a few days later, and I'm not the person to ghost people because I don't like when people try to ghost me. I've been ghosted twice, and it's not a good feeling. So I basically tell him while we on the phone, I was like, we was vibing, we was cooling, and we had a good day. But I ain't gonna lie, when you told me you was the Uber driver, it really effed me up. It did. And I told him it effed me up, and I'm used to dating older men that got their stuff together, that's more established, somebody I can learn from. And I said that just took me off guard. And he was very cool about it. He said he understood, and he understood. And then, of course, he went into the whole thing trying to explain himself and all this other stuff. But in the end, he understood. Yeah.
Well, damn. A couple things to unpack. Well, first off, homie don't need to explain himself to her. Ain't nothing bad about driving Uber. People be making cake. No need to explain why he's working an honest job to make an honest living. And if he is in a situation where he feels he needs to apologize to a date for his honest job not being as luxurious as she'd like it to be, she ain't the one, bruh. When I first viewed this clip, my reaction was, what in the coochie fried rice is she talking about? But it was more a feeling of how unfortunate for her. Because there you have it, a nice guy that she said she was vibing with, and she hasn't vibed with a guy like this in a long time, and she cut him off because he drove Uber. And she sounded real disgusted. Uber? Yuck. I mean, damn. She made it sound like he was like, on my spare time, I like to sniff orangutan assholes. I just like to get a big nose full of some assholes orangutans. I mean, she was disgusted. But let me say this though. However you feel about what she's saying, there's no need to get angry about it. No need to get angry at her. Nah, no need. For what? If that's how she feel, that's how she feel. She has a right to her personal standards. And you have the right to decide if you want to be around that mentality or not, which I suggest you don't. Especially if this is someone you trying to deal with romantically. Nah, bruh. Because if she pretty much ghosted, forgot about the good vibe, forgot about the good time y'all had, none of that mattered, because she found out you a Uber driver or whatever honest job you have that doesn't live up to her quote unquote standards, man, that ain't the one, bruh. Whatever personal reason she has is valid to her. So why try to convince her? Don't let anyone ever make you feel like you're less than because you are trying to better yourself by earning an honest living. Yo, that's like one of my biggest pet peeves. When people try to look down on others, it irks me. It irks me so much. Let me tell you something. Next time you on a date, watch how your date treats the waitress or the waiter. It says so much. I'm telling you right now, you are a champion. You're a warrior. You an animal. You're gonna get to where you gotta go. You just can't get caught up comparing your pace to everyone else's, because everyone moves at their own pace. So if you driving Uber or whatever you're doing, all right, don't let the expectations of someone you may be interested in knock you from your hustle. I mean, let's be real. These days, a lot of the time, them standards and expectations be delusional as hell. Like, what? In this economy, you gotta have a couple hustles. There have been times while I was on tour, sold out shows and everything, I get a call or email from an old client, asking, hey man, you still do photography and videography and editing and all that, because I need something done for me. Because that was like my main source of income before I started doing my own thing, producing videos, doing video editing for companies. I'm like, man, I need something edited for me, man. Could you? How much you paying? Shit, pass it over to me. Give it to me now. Give it to me. No, sir. Did not turn down that money. And I don't to this day when I have time. But you know what? I hope the guy she rejected comes across this video, because I know that messed with his head a little bit. I know that tarnished his ego. He was probably like, dang, I was really feeling this woman. I was vibing with shorty, and she asked me because I'm doing what I gotta do to make an honest living. As cliche as it may sound, she did him a favor. And I'm not trying to, insult her or disrespect her. I don't know her to disrespect her, you feel me? But I know she mentioned that he's also an entrepreneur. And when you have a vision, when you're working towards your goals, it's important to know from the giddy up, from the very start, the intentions of whoever you have close to you. So, hey, she let him know what it is. He could be like, okay, cool. Keep him moving and find someone that's going to really rock with him and really value his good character and intentions. So the day one of his business ventures takes off, he gonna know who's really genuine. But let me know what y'all think about this. Leave a like, helps with the algorithm. Comment, subscribe. Till next time, baby, I'm out.